Seattle's job market cools. Job numbers are declining as a result of its own self-imposed policy. What's that all about? Let's get into it. Here we go. We are reading from the Washington Policy Center. Got some good stuff. Seattle's economy, long a powerhouse of innovation and growth, is facing a stark reality in 2025. Declining job market that threatens the city's prosperity. Seattle has been on one of these runs. You know, when you got a whole bunch of progressive, Democrat-led policy, things don't seem to turn out all that well, do they? There's only so much of an economy lifting up a city when your policies are going the wrong direction. And Seattle's policies have been going the wrong direction. After I read this article, we're going to check out some of the videos of some of the stuff happening in Seattle that kind of makes employers go, is Seattle the right fit for us? I am not sure. According to the Washington State Employment Security Department, April 2025 monthly employment report, Seattle Metropolitan Division lost approximately 4,200 jobs between January and April of 2025. We have normally been to the moon with those numbers, with the unemployment rate in King County rising to 5.1%. That is not insignificant. King County has some of the highest housing, some of the highest gas prices, and some of the highest unemployment rates, rising to 5.1% compared to the state average of 4.6%. This marks a significant departure from the robust job growth of the 2010s. 2010s and 2020s. We had literally to the moon. Couldn't do any wrong. People could say whatever they wanted. Tax Amazon. It's all good. Tax, wealthy people. It's fine. They'll pay it. And then all of a sudden, you've got this migration. You know what? Maybe Seattle isn't where we want our headquarters to be. Let's move to Bellevue. Tech sector, a cornerstone of Seattle's economy, saw a 2.3% decline in employment from quarter 1, 2024 to quarter 1, 2025. It's not the direction you want to go. While retail and hospitality sectors reported job growth of 0.8 and 1.2%. So they're still doing, respectively, far below pandemic levels. Things were roaring before the pandemic. Got to remember, they were just absolutely screaming. Unemployment was way down. You had inflation at 1.4%. And then Biden took office. And then, not good. State's Economic and Revenue Forecast Council projects Washington's overall job growth at a mere 0.6% for 2025. With the loss of revenue from taxes in the city due to, business loss and basically a vacant downtown Seattle, you have to come up with some ways to increase those taxes even more, even though Washington State just did a $9 billion add-on of taxes to the people of Washington State. Yeah, $9 billion they added. That's going to feel good. U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows Washington, driven by Seattle's job losses, is currently second worst in the nation for unemployment per actual job openings. Only California is ranked lower. Okay? These numbers reflect a broader trend. Seattle's economic engine is stalling. Tech industry, led by giants like Amazon and Microsoft, has seen significant layoffs. Microsoft just laid off another 300 here in Redmond. Significant layoffs with thousands of job losses impacting Seattle. Small businesses, which employ nearly half of Washington's workforce, are also struggling. Because it's the big business trickle down, right? Hey, but let's go ahead and tax Amazon. That should be a great concept. What could go wrong? You loony communists. This is what's going on. This is despite the foot traffic, number of visitors and office workers returning to the Seattle downtown area improving slightly since the pandemic. Foot traffic in downtown doesn't correlate to significant job growth. It just doesn't. The two are unrelated. This is a good sign, but indicates a shift in the type of visitors to the city. Several factors are driving Seattle's job market decline. First, local policies have created a challenging environment for businesses. Seattle's self-imposed policy is pushing businesses out. It just is. Why would you want to run a company in Seattle if you could go elsewhere and have the same benefit of poaching from the labor pool there, maybe with lower housing costs than Seattle? Why would you want to come to Seattle? Seattle's minimum wage, now at $20.76 per hour in 2025, is among the highest in the nation. Highest in the nation. So starting a business here, difficult at best because it's mandated. Hey, workers of the world unite. We're going to pay you a high salary. Oh, yeah, that hourly we're going to pay you. Yeah, we can't do that because we're closing up shop. How many businesses have we seen that with? Yeah, it's not been an insignificant number. While intended to support workers, it has strained small businesses, particularly in hospitality and retail. They work on super thin margins, and most of the folks that are in Seattle politics have never run a business, and they don't really understand a budget, and they just assume, hey, if we pay our workers more, it's going to be great. Seattle's going to be great. And that's not how this game is played, because you've got a little thing called profit, and if your margin is slim and your expenses go to the moon, you no longer have that profit and you no longer have the ability to keep that business afloat, period. So the Jumpstart payroll tax, tax Amazon, implemented in 2021, targets companies with payrolls over $8 million, discouraging large employers from expanding in Seattle. Actions have consequences, and particularly these kinds of actions. Seattle is going the wrong direction. Our mayor is going the wrong direction. Our Seattle City Council in the past has made decisions that we are paying for today. Businesses surveyed cited this tax as a reason for relocating jobs to suburbs like ding, 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 Bellevue or out of state. Amazon has revealed plans to have up to 25,000 employees relocate to Bellevue. Is that because they're pro-business? We're pro-business? I don't know. I'll have to do a study on that and get back to you. No, it's wildly obvious. It's very clear. Some of the crazy harebrained things that are happening in Seattle, which we'll take a look at here in a second, are not happening in Bellevue. Leadership in Bellevue does not reflect what's going on with some wild leadership choices in Seattle. So that's first. You got policies in Seattle that are like, we don't really want your business. We want workers of the world to unite. We want the whole LGBTQ plus community to feel comfortable and safe. We don't want your business. Second, regulatory burdens are stifling growth. Seattle's permitting process and state building regulations are incredibly complex. That's the whole state. But that is most big blue Democrat-run states. Permitting process, good luck. And that's why you've got housing costs that are to the moon. Housing costs that most people just flat out can't afford and can add months to a permit approval. The city's zoning laws, which restrict mixed-use development, further limit opportunities for small businesses to establish affordable locations. There's no such thing as affordable housing. And there's no such thing as affordable commercial in Seattle. Just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. That's not a thing. And people are like, if we only had some more affordable housing, good luck with that. You're never getting that. Third, the shift to remote work has reshaped Seattle's economy. 2024 Downtown Seattle Association study cited in the Seattle Times reported a 56% occupancy compared to 2019. The numbers are way, way down. Occupancy, way, way down. Vacancy factor, way high. And some of that has to do with crime. Others of it has to do with the types of businesses that were able to go remote. And a lot of those businesses are here in Seattle. San Francisco being the worst hit. Portland as well. Austin, you bet. It's happening. This trend has led to a 25% decline in commercial real estate demand in Seattle since 2022. Some of the buildings that we are seeing sold in Portland, Big Pink, and in San Francisco are incredible discounts from market value from 2019, right before the pandemic. I mean, you're talking 80, 90, 95% off of those pre-pandemic pricing levels. Fourth, Broader economic factors, including inflation and a cooling national job market, are impacting Seattle. U.S. added only 151,000 jobs in February 2025. Seattle's reliance heavy on tech and retail makes it vulnerable to these national trends. Finally, here's the one that I focus on a lot. Crime is still a blight on the city. While overall crime has decreased in the last 24 months, that's what they tell us, that's what they say, the headlines would say otherwise. 2025 serious crime incidents are up and have cast a shadow on Mayor Harrell's efforts to clean up the streets. Recent protests are not helping with the image of the city or city leaders. Businesses don't want to bring their employees, and they don't want to have to respond to shareholders saying, hey, you moved your headquarters to Seattle. That knucklehead mayor, what's he doing? He doesn't like people of faith. He's saying that people of faith are far-right extremists. What are you doing moving us there? No, get us out. We don't believe in that. Our core values don't believe in that. And Seattle's in such an insular, protected, just this micro socioeconomic market because we're geographically so limited from everywhere else besides Portland. I mean, if that's your next, family member, imagine how that goes. So people here don't understand that when you say things and they come back on a national level, like the director of the FBI, Dan Bongino, saying, yeah, we're going to need to look into Seattle and persecution of people of faith. Yeah, that doesn't exactly scream, hey, let's move our headquarters there. Let's start a business there. The economics in Seattle are perfect for us. Doesn't scream that. Does just the opposite. This has a direct impact on small businesses and visitors to the city. Seattle can reclaim its economic momentum with pragmatic, market-oriented reforms. Never gonna happen. This is Seattle. You got a bunch of knuckleheads running around in leadership roles, particularly at the mayor level. Our mayor has just done some harebrained things lately. First, policymakers must reduce the cost of doing business. Not going to happen. Repealing or reforming the jumpstart tax. Not going to happen. Lowering the minimum wage for small businesses. Not going to happen. Or offering temporary tax credits could ease financial pressures and encourage hiring. Not going to happen. You're not doing any of those things. We got progressives running Seattle. So this is what you get. This is what you get. Second, streamlining regulations is critical. Cutting permitting times and simplifying zoning laws. Never going to happen. Instead, you got people hugging trees here. Literally people hugging trees. Bellevue's success in attracting tech firms with faster permitting processes offers a model for Seattle to follow. Bellevue is reasonable. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm not sitting over in Seattle. Bellevue is reasonable, even though it's in Washington State. It does the best it can, given the fact that we've got leadership that is Democrat-led at our state leadership level. Here we are, right? Third, Seattle must adapt to the remote work era. Okay, yeah, but everybody must need to. Tax incentives for businesses that maintain physical offices in Seattle could also preserve downtown jobs. You know what? That's going to be just a total cluster F, and it's just going to be a quagmire because we're going the wrong way with that. You've got businesses giving up space in Seattle left and right. Some AI has taken some of that back, but what you're saying right now is a real reflection on choices that Seattle leadership has made, and now they're sitting around going, ooh, these numbers aren't looking great. This isn't, and they're going to blame it. Well, it's a national issue. This is a national issue. Now, I talked about some of those things going on, but let's watch this. Let's watch this video real quick. Where in the F are my headphones? Here they are. They're on the ground. Let's watch this video, and this video kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about, where people looking in from the outside won't really understand this. And if you're making a decision to bring a business into the Seattle community, this might alter your decision to move forward with the Seattle flagship. Here we go. This is Seattle, 2 Saturdays ago.
Hundreds of Christian worshipers flooded Seattle's Cal Anderson Park Saturday afternoon to pray for the city and take a stand for traditional family values.
You will not disrespect.
This is what our mayor called a far-right extremist rally that does not represent the values of Seattle. People praying and singing and doing the hymn thing. Yeah, you know what? That's well over half the country. Yeah. And how'd that work out for you in that last election there, Bruce? Mayor Harrell? On the presidential level? Not great.
Especially against transgender ideology targeting children, all part of the May Day USA revival movement sweeping across the nation.
And the Lord says, sound the alarm! Sound the alarm! Lift up your voice!
But a time of blessing and praise quickly devolved into chaos.
This is Jonathan Cho, by the way. Turning Point USA.
Activists and Antifa militants tried to disrupt the concert.
Pushing claps, fighting. Absolutely. That's what it is. Insane.
Throwing water balloons at the crowd. Menacing
No, I don't believe.
attendees and some activists.
Okay, look at that. That's a yellow colored water balloon, isn't it? That's yellow colored. What else is colored yellow? What else is colored? I can't quite come up with Mountain Dew? Nah, there's urine in that. They threw human feces and urine at the churchgoers praising God and Jesus. If that doesn't tell you what you need to know, and Seattle's mayor, Bruce Harrell, backed up these savages doing this.
Rushing the stage.
I would say there's two kingdoms clashing here today. There's the kingdom of God, and then there's the kingdom of Satan.
Which led to numerous clashes and scuffles with police.
All these Antifa activists. And then you got the concert going on.
Well, wait a minute. Let's get back to that for just 1 second. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? I mean, that's just weird. What do you got going on there, Sparky? I mean, what, yeah, right? Seattle for you. It's Antifa. It's Trantifa.
Concert going on here right now. What's it been like today?
And I think it just illustrates.
Okay, again, this isn't exactly the environment that people want to bring their children to, is it? I mean, that's a grown man lifting up and what are we? Yeah.
The idea that the people who champion free speech and champion free expression are ultimately threatened and irritated by anybody else who has an opposing message. So
Russell Johnson
Correct.
of Pursuit Church was one of several pastors from Seattle participating with their congregations.
the mayor's trying to declare a state of emergency to shut down the event, but we're not going anywhere.
He says some of
Look
his
at that.
volunteers were assaulted during the melee.
You've got people.
Look at that. Just a ruckus.
𝗨𝗡𝗘𝗦𝗢𝗡 stopping a man from crashing the gathering.
It's absolutely crazy.
As the day progressed, another group of trans activists marched into the park, adding to the number of people targeting followers of Jesus Christ with nasty messages, vile curse words, and full-blown debauchery. But even with the taunting, middle fingers, and disparaging comments, 𝗨𝗧𝗏.
Let's go back and look there. Yeah. Hey, we're gonna move our business to this kind of environment where you got people with stuff on their faces. You got men with, we think, boobies. I mean, that are just, they're parading around like this is something they should be proud of. And you got people giving the bird F, Seattle Police Department. Those aren't moral values that anybody running a business can get behind. And you know who found that out? Target, Bud Light, John Deere. Do I need to keep going? I don't think I need to. Here we go.
Comments. 𝗨𝗧𝗏 Kellogg says prayers of love and forgiveness were sent to their attackers on the other side.
Not only
We come here to show the love of God. But we hope that by the time we are done here, that the atmosphere in Seattle will change.
We will be setting back up the fence line, and any counter-protesters are going to be escorted back behind it.
Officers eventually put up a metal barricade, separating the violent mob from concertgoers after more militants tried to breach the police line. When all was said and done, 23 people were hauled away in handcuffs, one officer injured, and a city left in desperate need of healing and leadership. Instead, Mayor Bruce Harrell sent out a controversial statement that appeared to be more divisive, calling the Christian concert an extreme right-wing rally that went against the LGBT.
Does that look like an extreme right-wing rally to you? Is that what you conjure up in your mind? It kind of looks like a church event. Looks like a contemporary church event. I mean, doesn't it? Yeah. But here's Mayor Bruce Harrell.
LGBTQ values of the city.
That one with green hair.
Implying the peaceful worshipers brought this on themselves over the weekend. Harrell also questioned why a permit to use the park was issued to the group.
I think they're going to have changes.
This got the attention of the Trump administration.
This is the president's agenda.
Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights Harmeet Dillon wrote on X, to deny a group a permit to pray in a public space because of crowd reaction is the classic heckler's veto, which is barred by the First Amendment. Seattle's mayor clearly needs an education in viewpoint discrimination.
The mayor of Seattle owes Christians in Washington state an apology for his bigoted remarks.
Pastor Johnson eviscerated the mayor during his Sunday sermon.
Church people were assaulted, and the mayor of Seattle has the audacity to blame Christians for the violence.
And is mobilizing hundreds of evangelicals for a...
But go ahead and relocate your company to Seattle. It should work out just fine. You'll need to explain to your employees that Seattle has a slightly different worldview lens on how things operate, and it's not exactly what we would call traditional.
Protests in front of City Hall on Tuesday.
I mean, it's not just us who've been assaulted. Cops have been beat up as well.
Johnson says they're demanding an apology.
Wait a minute. What was that? What was that sign? I love boy pussy. I love boy pussy. Again, I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? Okay.
Johnson says they're demanding an apology after Harrell victim-blamed Christians.
No, the police know because they see it on the front lines. Who are the real agitators?
The pastor says it's also time to send a strong message to political leaders in Washington state who have failed to condemn far-left violence for years.
Absolutely. This is far-right extremism right here.
None of the Christians retaliated. They were safely escorted out by police after the concert. Many saying the persecution energized their faith.
The Bible says this is going to happen. You know, this is nothing new.
All right. So let's go. This is the State of the Union in Seattle. It is absolutely mind-numbingly shocking. Seattle mayor defends response to rally at park, brushes off FBI investigation threat. Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell and a key council member defended the city's response to a rally at Cal Anderson Park, despite a social media post suggesting Seattle was under federal investigation for how it handled it. We got the whole Dan Bongino story. I mean, Harrell declined an on-camera interview, but his office issued a terse response. We have no official notice of investigation, yada, yada. The FBI is well within their right to investigate. We uphold the First Amendment. You didn't uphold the First Amendment rights or the 14th Amendment rights of the church group that was trying to have, basically a worship event. A worship event. So then what happened after that Saturday rally and the following Tuesday, same groups went to City Hall and basically demanded that Mayor Bruce Harrell resign or apologize. I was there for that. I was out on the streets. I was on the outside mixing with Trantifa, mixing with Antifa just to see what they would say. So I can tell you on this podcast, they are a group of hateful, evil individuals that, all the things that you see about Antifa are true. They're not positive about anything. They don't have a goal towards anything. They want to rip everything down. They want to rip Christians apart. Literally, they want people to die. That is their ideology, and they're not afraid to use violence. So that's why in Seattle, 31 members of Antifa and Trantifa were arrested, and 0 Christians were arrested. Just didn't happen. So it kind of tells you who's at fault here. And yet our mayor goes down this road that virtue signals to a tiny, tiny percentage of the population in Seattle, which is the LGBTQ community. Now, granted, it's a very strong and it's a very loud and it's a very vocal group, and they hurl human feces and urine at people. That's part of their program. So if you're willing to support that, I'd say, hey, get out there and wear your black, wear your masks, don't take a shower for weeks and weeks and weeks, because these people smell. They literally smell. They physically smell when you're around them. And, they just basically scream at people and tell cops to die. So if you think it's a good idea to move your business to a city where that kind of thing is going on, that's your judgment call. That's your judgment call. Now, this kind of thing doesn't happen all the time, but these are the optics of our leadership. They support LGBTQ plus communities over communities doing prayer services, singing hymns, worshiping, faith-based type things instead of the opposite, which I saw signs that were pointing towards Satan. Literally, there were signs. I've got pictures of people holding up just crazy Satan stuff, basically saying, I'll see you in hell, to the church group on the platform, doing their prayers, doing their songs, singing their hymns, all that good stuff that you would normally just find at church. But they had brought this to Seattle because I think people need to understand what is happening. And so when you've got leadership in Seattle like this, the optics of this, whether you believe or you don't believe, whether you think that LGBTQ are being persecuted, whether you think kids' trans rights are being stomped on, the optics of this outside of Seattle, because Seattle is so insular. It is so contained and it's so self-absorbed. They think that everybody thinks like this. And in reality, they don't. How do we know this? How'd that last presidential election go? Yeah. All right. That's all I got for you on this one. This is an ongoing story, because I think you're going to see Seattle's going to have some rough times, because businesses just they've got options. They can go elsewhere. They don't need to tolerate this kind of nonsense. And this is the nonsense Seattle is known for. Portland is known for as well. How'd that work out for Portland? Portland is trying to distance itself as hard as they can from this kind of silliness, because it just doesn't go anywhere in a positive manner. It doesn't increase job growth, right? Wild stuff. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'd love to have you subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.